Our first order of business is approval of the minutes. If the committee members have a chance to look at that, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Item number 1, approval of a yearly renewal with Granicus LLC. Total is $21,002.63. Who is Mr. Maloney? Yeah, there you are. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me.
You wanna-
Granicus.
Are we gonna, hold on one second. Donald, you wanna step up to the podium right there probably? Hate to put you on the spot like that, but so people can hear you.
A little bit better.
Yes, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. Granicus is our service provider for our website. They provide maintenance and hosting. This is a yearly renewal. The funding for this project has been secured already, and this is just a renewal and keeping moving forward.
So it's in y'all's budget
Yes, it is.
at the amount shown or less than?
It is.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Donald.
Sharp.
Thank you all.
Item number 2 is approval of contract with Comcast Business for network connectivity at the Western Riverwalk. Jason, welcome.
Yes, sir. Yes, this is similar to the previous 2 contracts. This is for connectivity back to City Hall for the Western Riverwalk project.
Jason.
Yes.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
For those who are listening that may not understand what does that connectivity mean, can you kind of unpack that for me?
Absolutely. This is for connectivity for Wi-Fi access on the Western Riverwalk, as well as security cameras, and any access control or other monitoring for appliances or devices that are out there. This is an area that is not connected to the city's network, and this contract is in lieu of running about between $200,000 and $300,000 of fiber of our own for the project.
What's the timeline of the expected project?
I believe the Western Riverwalk project itself will begin, is it bid or construction in February? It's supposed to be done in the fall, winter of next year. I'm not the authority on that, but I believe that the Comcast has said that it'll be about 6 months for their portion of the project. They do have to cross the railroad to get out there, so
Right.
and they will do all of that permitting because it is their line.
I'm glad that you answered that, because there are so many people who've been on social media as well as calling wanting to know, and I want them to be able to know about this, Mr. Chair and Jason.
What other questions do we have?
It's in your budget.
This is budgeted out of the Elevate operational funds. Yes, sir.
It's in their budget.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Committee, I think I had made a mistake, which is not a first, but let me ask you a question, Brandy. I needed to amend the agenda to add a discussion and potential vote on some articles with changes for some things for Lake Tuscaloosa. So,
Add it whenever you want.
So
There's
we-
any motion and stuff.
yeah, I would like to make a motion for us to consider these code changes
You wanna do it
at
now
Lake
or do it
Tuscaloosa.
then?
You want to do it at the
It
end?
doesn't matter. What do y'all, we can wait.
Look, I'll second it, we'll do it again.
Okay.
so we can
Yeah.
do this.
That's fine. We'll do that. I'm sorry I forgot to do that. Item number 3 is adoption of community development programs monitoring plan. Welcome, Wayne.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Good afternoon. We would like at Community and Neighborhood Services consent to adopt the Community Development Program Monitoring Plan. It's a plan that Sarah and I compiled together from the training we received, a workshop that we went to. And what we need to do is adopt the plan for our department, Community and Neighborhood Services. It's a part of HUD's ongoing requirements. We have policies and procedures, but this plan is more comprehensive than that. It's actually 48 pages. You got the index and well, table of contents, I believe. So we'll email that to anyone who wants a copy.
Give us an example, please, of the implementation of the plan.
Okay. In the plan
Of the
itself,
monitoring, I guess.
yeah, in the plan itself, you have methodology of approach to monitoring, whether it be a not-for-profit, construction, just depends on what type of work it is. You have protocols that we have, what letters we have to send out, what notifications we have to do, what HUD codes, CFR codes there are. We also have organizational charts. We have samples of those in the back for whoever would be able to pick up this manual would be able to monitor. So it can go across the city, but this is specifically for our department.
So this item is just in projects to get the nod to do the work to do that? There's no funding.
This work is already done. We're just asking for consent to adopt it for our
Oh,
department.
okay. Is there any funding involved?
There's not.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 4 is home ARP discussion survey. Welcome, Heather.
Good afternoon.
Good
Good afternoon.
So this is just talking about our home ARP, our American Rescue Plan, that's being administered through the home program. This is a little bit different than the home program that we normally talk about. This program is specifically to address qualifying populations to include homeless, at risk of becoming homeless, domestic violence, and then also our veterans that might meet the homeless categories as well. We received just a little bit over $1.7 million for home ARP, and we are currently working on our allocation plan, and that adjusts how we intend to provide the needs of the qualifying populations that I just described. So now that we're in that process, we're going through engagement and consultation. There will be a survey that comes out this week. It'll stay active through the month of January. And I ask that everyone, when you receive it, if you will go ahead and respond to the survey. This will help us as we develop this allocation plan and addressing our needs. We'll also consult with our homeless providers, the continuum of veterans providers, domestic violence, and so forth.
Heather, this is so good, and very, very well needed. Who will receive these surveys? All of us, the whole city?
The whole city.
So you're asking all?
And then our partners as well.
Okay,
And then if you want to forward to somebody else, please do. The more input that we have, the better, because we're trying to get an accurate look of kind of what our needs are to address the qualifying population.
Heather, once the survey comes back and you guys digest that, you will put together a plan of how to allocate and attack. Will you bring that plan back to us? And
Yes, sir.
discuss
So
that with us, please?
what we'll have to do after that plan is developed, because it has to follow our same processes of citizen participation. So once we develop the plan, we'll have to get input from our community. And then we'll actually have to amend our action plan to add that allocation plan for home ARP into it. So it'll come back to the council.
It'll come back, okay. Will it come back to projects or?
It'll come probably CD committee.
Yeah.
So we get $1.6 million in ARP.
1.7. It's a little over 1.7.
1.7 million in ARP funds. And that comes to the city, and that's the share that we cut off to go to this program, or does that flow directly from the federal or state to that specific program?
So it flows just like our other community planning development funds, like home CDBG. The U.S. Treasury, we have a line of credit. It goes into our normal system, and we have to allocate the funds out.
All right, so we get 1.7 million in for home ARP. And then y'all go out and do community engagement and surveys to come up with a recommendation for how to invest that 1.7 million, right?
That's correct.
And qualifying population as well.
So that is that group that I mentioned, are homeless, at risk of becoming homeless, domestic violence, our veterans that might meet any of those homeless categories, as well as people that could benefit from services to avoid homelessness.
Okay,
So when we're
so
looking-
the money is spent on services to avoid homelessness,
So
not
there-
on shelters or apartments or?
So there are various eligible activities that we can do. Tenant-based rental assistance is one.
Tenant-based.
Construction or rehab of rental units is another. Also support services like housing counseling can be funded under home ARP. And then also non-congregate shelters can be funded under.
Non-congregate shelters.
Mhm.
What's that?
So that's a shelter where everybody has their own space, because we're responding to the pandemic, so that you would kind of stop the spread. So that would be everybody having their own room, and it would be a shelter, kind of like the shelters that we already have, but those are more dorm style. Turning Point probably is the best example of a non-congregate shelter, because it's individual rooms.
Ballpark, how many beds do we have in shelters? When I say beds, I'm not talking about physical, but sleeping space for an individual. Is it 100, 1,000, 10,000?
Definitely not that
Put-
many.
put me in a-
Um,
A ballpark.
So it's probably about 100 for shelter between the two, something like that, a little over 100. We're getting ready to do our housing inventory count, and so that'll give us a more accurate number of our bed count. That'll occur in January.
And is that just the city itself, or is that the city and all the ancillary agencies like Red Cross and others that we support and help fund?
So that'll be
I'm just trying to
everybody.
understand, as we had this conversation about the upcoming bitter cold
Mhm.
and homelessness, I'm just trying to understand what options are out there.
So our housing inventory count will involve people that participate in our homeless management information system, because those bed counts go in there. So we'll go through a process where what we see in that system, we verify with those providers. So it's those that participate in that system, those are the beds that we count.
And that's about 100.
It's a little over 100. We'll see exactly what they have, because sometimes they convert beds. So I can give you a more accurate number in January.
Okay, so today you're just advising us that this survey process is beginning, and that by sometime in January, we hope to have the results, and y'all's team will format recommended actions that come to see the community development committee.
Precisely, because we'll look at the survey, we're gonna look at our point in time count, we're gonna look at our housing inventory count.
Okay.
So we'll take all of those things in consideration, as well as participation in the warming stations.
Heather, will you give me one more time, what does ARP mean for some of us who?
American Rescue Plan.
And as we look at this homelessness and, you know, thank you for working with me on some things when it came to our homeless. This will help us be able to do interventions, hopefully for these new homeless persons that are coming into our city.
Yeah, so Congress allocated these funds as an additional tool because they felt that that population was most impacted by the pandemic as far as housing solutions. So this is another tool for us to address some of our needs.
That's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Any other questions for Heather? Chair would entertain a motion to approve.
I don't think there's anything.
I don't think we have
No.
to approve
Discussion.
just
This
discussion.
is, okay, sorry.
Yes,
You're
sir.
right.
But we do,
But we
Mr.
would have
Chair,
approved it. so.
and we want to get the people to do the surveys.
Yeah, I think I'm running on almost Christmas energy here.
All right.
Item number 5 is authorization of contract with IAFF for Train the Trainer 2022 AFG grant for wellness program. Chief, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, council, for letting me be here for a minute. This is a grant we received through that Assistance to Firefighter Grant Program for $52,000 was the federal side. We put in $7,000, it was roughly a $60,000 grant. This contract allows us to receive the training through the IAFF, the International Association of Firefighters. It's a peer fitness program, but it's also a peer wellness program. We'll be able to purchase equipment with the $25,000 of part of the fund. We'll be able to put $25,000 towards the peer fitness and $10,000 towards the critical incident stress, basically. This just allows the mayor to sign the contract.
Critical incident stress.
Yes, sir. Basically, it's when we have any type of major, PTSD type training, I guess would be the best way to relate it back to you. It's for,
So it's training to work your way through critical incidents?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, 60 grand, 25 you'll put in stuff, and the rest will be.
25 will be training, and then 10, well,
Training.
25 is specific for physical fitness training, and then 10 is
What do you do
specific
for
for.
physical fitness training?
It's a Fit to Thrive program that the IFF developed that is based off of job functions, JPRs of a firefighter,
JPR.
job performance.
You good?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Chief. Item number 6 is approval to enter into minor public works contract with Crimson Carpet and Flooring for replacement of flooring in the council mayor waiting area, total of $1,650. Welcome, Summer.
Good afternoon, thanks for having me. So this is for Crimson Carpet and Flooring. It's for the waiting area that is next to, between the clerk's office and the mayor's office door. There'll be a little waiting area there. And this is just for Crimson Carpet to do the flooring replacement for that.
Questions?
Where is that money coming from?
It's coming out of the facilities renewal general fund.
And
It is budgeted, yes.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item number 7, approval to enter into minor public works contract with Nichols Construction and Home Repair LLC for ceiling grid installation for the Office of City Attorney additions. Total is $1,818. Summer.
Yes, this project is also funded out of the facilities renewal fund, general fund. It's for OCA's new staff attorney that starts the first week of January. So it's just for the ceiling grid for their offices.
Questions?
New staff attorney.
Yes, sir. This is hiring an assistant city attorney. When I was appointed city attorney, there were 2 openings, both for associate city attorneys. We actually regraded this position down to a lower level. We've tried to hire it a couple times, and we've got somebody that'll be starting in January. So we've had some kind of weird cubicle space that's been kind of in the middle as you come back towards my office. This is putting up a permanent wall and turning those into actual existing offices for somebody.
Okay. Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8 is approval of minor public works contract with Crimson Carpet and Flooring for replacement of flooring for the Office of City Attorney office additions. The total is $1,200. Summer.
This is the same project that I just referenced. It's just the flooring replacement
Do
for
we
the
have
area.
their ceiling fixed?
Yes,
We will, yes.
yes, sir. The old water
We're
features.
we're not putting new carpet down before we stop the water leak.
No, sir. This is a different section, and all that's been fixed for a year plus now, and Mr. Bobbitt is very thankful.
Motion.
Second.
I tried to convince Tom it was a water feature.
We always blame Mr. Bobbitt. Your fault again, Tom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9 is approval of minor public works contract with Hydro Service for lift station 72 pump number 1 repair. The total is $8,079.80. Welcome, Kimberly.
Hello. This is just like a lot of the other ones that come through. This is a repair with Hydro Service for pump station 72, pump number 1 repair. This is budgeted in our 4170 account at Fletcher.
Motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10 is approval of professional services contract with KTA Tater, Inc. for condition assessments of 3 water treatment plant clear walls. Total is $21,000. Kimberly.
This is for the inspections of the 3 clear wells at the water treatment plants. There are 2 at Ed Love and 1 at Plott. This is a newer requirement by ADM. So basically it'll be a rover going in and inspecting the tanks. And so these are budgeted in Ed Love's outside services, and the amount is $21,000.
Questions?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Item number 11 is approval for final balancing change order with Thompson Engineering for Mercedes Force Main Phase 2, the line replacement project. Deductive total, we like that. Merry Christmas. $17,316.46. Welcome, Chris.
Welcome. Good afternoon, council. So this is one of the SRF projects, Clean Water 2018, and this project was completed earlier this year. We finally got all the items complete on it, and this is just the final change order to close that out, and it is deductive. Like you mentioned, the amount is $17,316.46.
Perfect. Questions for Chris?
Second.
Motion and second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 12 is approval to award construction contract to Price Civil Services for lift station 68 capacity upgrades. Total is $1.339 million. Brett.
Good afternoon. Yeah, OC is requesting to award contract to Price Civil for the lift stations 43 and 68 capacity upgrades. This is in association with the Ledges subdivision. I do want to preface that this will be 100% reimbursed by the developer.
That's good. That's always good.
Brett, the project summary is that these are upgrades to the sanitary sewer system. Can you kind of elaborate for me about that?
Yes.
That
So
function?
the Ledges subdivision that's coming online is trying to tap into lift station 68, but that's already at capacity. So in order for them to develop, we have to increase capacity. So we're essentially upgrading lift station 68, and then as you see on the map, we're running up all Greensboro Road and increasing the low pressure force main size, and 43 will actually tie into that as well.
Good.
Brett, these residents are in this proposed subdivision. They're in the county, but they're tying into our sewer, so they'll be water sewer customers of us, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Question, any other questions? We'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Item number 13, authorization to negotiate scope of services, professional fees with TTL for geotechnical engineering, construction material testing, and special inspection services for the Savin Center project. Welcome, John.
Thank you, sir. We advertised the RFQ back in November. We received qualifications on November the 30th. Our evaluation team went through the process of scoring the respondents' qualifications and would like to get the committee's approval to start the scope and fee negotiations with TTL based upon that review of the qualifications.
Questions for Mr. Kramer?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Now we get to fix my screw up. Would like to, I think I put a motion, you seconded to, I want to add an item to our agenda.
Motion to fix your screw up, and I
Yes.
second it.
Second.
Motion, is
Second.
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
There are none opposed. No, you're opposed, Mr. Mr. Tyner. But I want to ask Kimberly to come up, and we're going to have a conversation about these minor changes to the lake code. So Kimberly, I wanted you to kind of talk a little bit about what we're doing. You can walk us through it, highlight any major changes, talk about stakeholder conversations, and kind of what we're trying to do here, please, ma'am.
3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, we came to admin committee with some changes for the Lakes Code that we've been working on for a while in-house. There weren't there's no major changes related to what is and isn't allowed, and it was passed through admin committee. After that was passed, we had some people reaching out to us and telling us that we didn't vet it properly through the stakeholders. And so basically we kind of dropped back a little bit, punted again, had some meetings with the stakeholders, and so we want to come back and we're not changing anything that was presented. We just want to take out some of the things that we were talking about changing now. And so we want to work with the Home Builders Association, the Realtors Association, work with them on the rest of the changes. And so the biggest things that we talked about, if you remember some of the discussions were, we were gonna have a delineation between if you were in the city versus the county. So we wanna take the section out right now that has anything to do with the city and the county. And once we really got to talking about it, all of the structures that we're talking about regulating are actually in the city because they're on the lake, so they're all in the city limits. So basically, there were just a couple things that I didn't do exactly right, trying to vet these, but this is my first time doing this part of it, so we're trying to get it right and correct it. We're fortunate that we caught it when we did, so that we do have the opportunity to correct it. But so the main things that we talked about changing or taking out right now that we had presented was the separation of city and county. So we just want to leave that, just everything's just going to stay the same the way it was. And then we had talked about upgrading a lot of the fees related to the structures for the residences and commercials dock situations or marinas, those that we had talked about changing. And so what we're doing right now is leaving all of those fees the same for right now. And then we want to work with them and get a better grasp on what the fees should be. And then they also want to help us with an education component of it as to why we're trying to increase fees and what those fees will cover. So the changes that we want to make will still establish the separate account that we had discussed to where all fees that we collect will be going directly back into the lakes for lakes improvements. And then we're changing just some of the language where it talked about IPS versus water and sewer department, so we still want to keep those changes. And then there was a piece on the residential section of it where we had left out a couple words that needed to be corrected for the electrical component of the residential section. So that's basically the changes that we're wanting to keep.
Left out a couple of words, like what?
So we left out the word sub-panel when the changes were made originally to the electrical code, and we didn't realize it until we found it with something else coming that had recently come up, so we want to correct that. Just to add that word in there. It was just an intention.
No words like, we meant shall not, but we left not out.
No. So, I mean, I think the meat of what we were talking about changing was the fees, but there were things that needed to be corrected in the code. So we were keeping the corrections and not doing the fees right now.
And when do you think we'll circle around?
Well, we want to work with the Home Builders Association, the Realtors Association through FY23, and then so the way that we do the fees and stuff, so they wouldn't be effective until January of 2024 whenever we do make those changes. So we would work out on it throughout this year, and then
So
the plan would be
to make them effective for January 24th.
Yes. So that way, I mean, we would have time to work through it. We'd have appropriate time to, once we get everything finalized, we can vet it for a few months, make sure we get everything corrected that we want to get corrected right now.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
That as you're meeting with these stakeholders and people, that maybe we plan on bringing this back early in the fourth quarter?
Yes.
Like maybe where we've got plenty of time to talk about this, and argue about this, or add and delete. Maybe you bring it by September, something after Labor Day.
We're so much more agreeable when there's no
Yes.
short fees.
Yes.
Yeah, but I appreciate what you've done since you've been in charge of this department. And I do appreciate we always want to be transparent on how we do things, and when, things are sometimes rushed a little bit, I think people think we're not trying to be transparent, which is really not the case, but really it is important to get the input of people that deal with this every day. And I think long-term goal is we need to deal with the silt Lake Tuscaloosa. We need to probably look at several of these regulations on what can and can't be built, the size of things. I mean, I know we've worked on, I get a lot of complaints from people when things are being built that silt's going in the lake. Well, now we're gonna require a siltation bond, which I think is long overdue on the lake. And if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you don't have to worry about anything. So, I mean, I haven't really heard much about that, but I think that's important to protect our lake long-term too, and I think this council feels that way, and I know y'all do.
Mr. Nino's here with the Home Builders Association, I don't know if you had anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Richard, do you have anything to say?
I just appreciate y'all working with us on it, and we're glad to bring it back as soon as possible, and I think that we will quickly come to agreements on it. We don't have any roadblocks. I think if we'd have had a little more time, we would have had it cleaned up and brought to you in this year. So we appreciate being a part of the process.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
If there are no major objections from this committee, I would like to pass this, and then I would like for it to be on council tonight.
Okay,
This
so
was
we just need a vote here in committee, is it already?
And to pass.
There,
We'll suspend the rules or what?
Yeah.
and I'll give Ms. Johnston a chance to correct me. There is already basically the sister item to this under unfinished business. I believe what we would do is vote to withdraw that, suspend the rules. We have a prepared suspended
Vote it down.
rules ordinance that does what Ms. Michaels.
We've
Why
got
would
something
we
on
need
the
to vote-
table.
Why would we need to vote on it in council tonight?
Because it was on
It'd be
there
a-
last
It
week.
needs to be effective the first of the year.
It needs to be effective.
First of the year, yes. If we can.
So move.
I mean,
I will second if we'll all sing in chorus, we hate suspended rules.
we-
1,
we-
2, 3.
We hate suspended rules, aye.
We got 2 more committee meetings, guys.
I will
Yeah.
second his.
All in favor, we did vote.
Aye.
Yeah, aye, sorry. Opposed, motion carries. And then that will be on the agenda tonight, Mr. Holmes, correct?
You could, but
It was on there last week.
Yeah, well, and we got to vote down or
We'll
withdraw,
withdraw the
okay.
unfinished
The
business.
one that's
and
on
then
the table.
We'll call up under suspended rules this.
Okay.
And the reason I've asked that we do it through that process is there were enough things we were pulling out to simply amend what's on the agenda tonight would have been very complicated to do from the floor.
Really?
And it was a little bit more than I think would really justify something.
Yes, no problem. Any other discussion or any other business to be brought before our committee today?
Mr. Chair, before we adjourn today, I want to introduce to you and our mayor and the council some shadowers of me today from the Youth Leadership Institute of Ithaca Omega. Jared White from Central High School. Stand where you stand. Brianna McFadden from West Lawn Middle School, who graces us at the table today, and Brooklyn Brown from North Ridge Middle School. And so we're glad to have them to be with me today, so you will see them walking around and probably asking you some questions. All right, thank y'all for being here today.
It is always great to see outstanding young people take part in their government.
That's
I think
right.
that's a great thing. We're glad y'all. Our next Public Projects Committee meeting, everybody don't scream and holler. It is January the 10th, so 3 weeks from today, we will not have council for the next 2 weeks.
I think we'll still be here.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye.